Hi kids, welcome to English. Today's topic is 12 tenses in active voice. Let's have a review of past tenses. To show an action in the past, we use verbs of past tenses. There are 4 major past tenses. Number 1. Simple past tense. It is used to show an action that happened in the past when the time the action happened is known. For example, I went to school yesterday. We can see that the verb went is a past tense of go. Number 2. Past continuous tense. It is used to show an action that was going on at a given time in the past. For example, I was sleeping when he came to my house last night. In this sentence, we can see that the given time is came to my house last night, and during this time, I was sleeping. Number 3. Past perfect tense. It is used when the time of speaking is in the past, to show an action which began before the time of speaking, and stopped at or just before the time of speaking, or the exact time of the action was unknown, or the action was still going on at the time of speaking. Let's look at some of these examples. Example 1. He had just left when his mother arrived. In this sentence, we can see that the action, had just left, stopped right before another action when his mother arrived. In past perfect tense, we usually add had in front of the verb. Example 2. She had already finished her homework. In this sentence, there is no exact time of the action happening that is given, but we know from the sentence that she had just finished her homework before the time of speaking. 她剛剛完成她的功課. Example 3. She had lived in this estate for 10 years and had no wish to move. This sentence is an example of an action that is still going on at the time of speaking. So in this sentence, we know that she had lived in this estate for 10 years and she is still living in the estate. Example 4. She had lived in a cottage for 10 years. Then she had moved to a big house. She was now very satisfied with her house. In this sentence, we know that she moved to a big house some time ago, because it says that she was now very satisfied with her house. This is also an example of an action that is still going on at the time of speaking. Number 4. Past perfect continuous tense. We use the past perfect continuous tense to show that something started in the past and continued up until another time in the past. For example, you had been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. In this sentence, had been waiting and arrived are both actions that happened in the past. For had been waiting, this is in past perfect continuous tense, and shows that the action had continued until the other action happened. Example 2. Had you been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived? Similar to the first example, had you been waiting is in past perfect continuous tense, and it is an action that started in the past. This action continued up until another time in the past, which in this sentence is when she finally arrived. In example 3, we see a similar structure. You had not been waiting there for more than 2 hours when she finally arrived. We also note that for past continuous tense, the helping verbs was and were have to be used. For past perfect tense and past perfect continuous tense, the helping verbs had is used. Task 1. Read the news report. Then fill in each blank in Janet's diary with one word which best completes the meaning. The first one has been done for you. The number of people seeking treatment for flu symptoms is at a 5-year high. H3N2, H1N1, and the California type flu virus are the common strains hitting the city at the moment. It is uncommon for different flu strains to emerge simultaneously. The Department of Health said there was no evidence to suggest that the 3 strains of flu were affecting more people and places than a single one. Earlier this week, the Secretary for Health, Welfare and Food urged city residents suffering from common colds to visit private clinics instead of crowding hospitals' emergency wards, which were already overrun with flu patients. Now fill in the blanks with the appropriate verb below. March 25th. Some of my classmates, including Tony, were absent today. Our class teacher told us that they were from flu. As a hint, we can use the word suffer, 少服. Now we just need to assign the correct form of the verb. Since we know that this article is written in past tense, because we can see in the previous sentence, were absent indicates that this is written in past tense. And in this sentence we see the word were before the verb. This means this must be in past continuous tense. Hence, this sentence would be, our class teacher told us that they were suffering from flu. Moving on. Us to take good care of ourselves, saying that because of the weather, we could easily catch a cold if we not careful. In the first part of this sentence, we know that the verb will be in simple past tense because this is a single point in time. We can use the past tense of tell or advise. Both are acceptable. He advised us to take good care of ourselves. For the second part, it's the same as the first sentence. We could easily catch a cold if we were not careful. Now try to finish the rest of the exercise. Are you ready for the answers? Now let's take a look. Task 2. Please fill in the correct tenses. Dear Helen, your letter about 3 weeks ago and to find time to write you back ever since. In the sentence, we know that the time frame is 3 weeks ago, and we are talking about a single point in time. This is why we use simple past tense. I received your letter about 3 weeks ago and tried to find time to write you back ever since. Very busy lately. From this sentence, we get the implication that the person writing this letter was very busy in the past and is still very busy now. Therefore, we use past perfect tense. I have been very busy lately. Now try to do the remainder of the blanks by yourself. You can use simple past tense or past perfect tense to complete the following. Here are the answers. Please continue with the rest of task 2. I will do the first 3 questions with you. Note in this exercise we can use both present tense and past tense. Right now it's 2 a.m. and I at my desk. Note that the time of this sentence is right now, which means it's happening in the present tense. So we use the present tense form of the verb be, which is. Right now it is 2 a.m. For the second part of this sentence, we can also use present tense. And I sit at my desk. Note that in this sentence, we can also use the present progressive tense, am sitting, if this is an ongoing action. For the next sentence, we can use past tense because we know the action happened 6 hours ago, and the action of studying has already stopped. Therefore, we can say, I sat here for 6 hours doing my studying. Now try to finish the rest of these yourselves. Now let's take a look at the answers. Task 3. Complete the following blanks using simple past tense or the past continuous tense. One day Sam was sick, so he to school. We know that this sentence is in simple past tense because was is the past tense of is, and this describes a single action at a point in time in the past. Therefore, we can say, one day Sam was sick, so he did not go to school. While Sam's mother on her shoes. In this sentence, the word while tells us that this is an ongoing action. And given that this exercise is to be completed in simple past tense or past continuous tense, we know that we must use past continuous tense to describe an action that was happening in the past. Therefore, we can say, while Sam's mother was putting on her shoes. For the next part of this sentence, we know that this is an action that happened at a point in time in the past. So we use the simple past tense of say, which is said. While Sam's mother was putting on her shoes, she said, "I prepared some congee for you, and I've left some money for you in case you need it. Call me or Dad if anything happens." Now try the rest of this exercise yourselves. Here are the answers. Here are the answers. Exercise. John is writing a letter to Auntie Wong about his problem with his parents. Complete the blanks using either the simple past tense or the past continuous tense. Now let's look at the answers.